The topic of this video is from Unit 4A on frequency tables and relative frequency tables. A frequency table is just a way to organize and present data in an orderly manner. So in this first example, we're going to construct a frequency table for this data. Now notice our frequency table has two columns. The first column with the data, the second column with the frequency. Now the frequency is just how often the data point occurs. So what data points do we have in this data set? Notice that the smallest data point is a 27. So we are going to put these in order from lowest to highest. We have data points of 28, 29, and 30 is our highest data point. Now let's go through and count how many of each data point we have. So for a data point of 27, there are 4 of those. There are 6 of the 28s. There are 2 of the 29s. And there are 3 of the 30s. So the frequency table just organizes your data and tells how often each one of those data points occur. Now notice that the total of the frequency column here, 4 plus 6 plus 2 plus 3 gives you a total of 15. That is represented by the total number of 15 data points in the original data set. Now we're going to construct a relative frequency table for the following data. Now notice in the table that I do have a column in the middle for frequency because we will need that first before we calculate the relative frequency. So what data points are included here? The lowest data point is 6. We have data points of 7, 8, and 9. So let's count the frequencies. How often does the 6 occur? It appears twice. How often does the 7 occur? It appears 4 times. The 8 appears 3 times. And the 9 appears once. Now if you'll count the number of data points, there are a total of 10. So that's going to be used when we calculate the relative frequency. The relative frequency essentially tells you, relative to the entire data set, how often does the data point of 6 occur. So we have a frequency of 2 for 10 total data points. So we're going to divide to get a decimal of 0.2. So the relative frequency for the data point 6 is 0.2. So that's essentially saying that the 6 occurs 20% of the time. Now the data point of 7, it has a frequency of 4. So we're going to take the frequency of 4 and divide it by the total number of data points to get 0.4. So essentially the data point 7 occurs 40% of the time in this data set. The 8 appears 3 times. So 3 times, relative frequency of 3 divided by 10 gives me 0.3. And then for the data point of 9, the frequency divided by the total of 10 gives me 0.1. Now notice in the relative frequency column, all of these numbers should add up to 1. So the sum of this column is equal to 1. 0.2 plus 0.4 plus 0.3 plus 0.1. That relative frequency column should always total to 1.